Hello, my name is Julia Casey, and I'm the clinical educator for Coverdale Infusion Clinics. Today I'm going to be showing you how to use the Coverdale Intranet system. This is the login page and can be found at www.coverdaleclinic.com/intranet. To start, let's log in with your Intranet credentials. Once you're logged in, by default you will see the clinic calendar for the current week. Let's focus on the clinic schedule. We'll look at the other tabs and tools later on. You can change the view from daily or monthly with this drop-down menu. The date picker lets you jump around between different days, months, and years. And this little icon jumps you back to today's date. So I've put a few things on the schedule as an example. On this example day, we have a nurse who has marked herself as available all day on Wednesday, but the clinic leader has only booked her for work in the morning, as there's only 1 or 2 patients that day. When a nurse is booked for work by the clinical leader, their time shows up in green. This is a great way for the clinical leader to communicate and reschedule shifts with the clinic staff. We'll talk more about scheduling a bit later. The Coverdale Resource Center also uses this system to directly schedule new patients, so it's important that the nursing schedule is accurate and up to date. There's a couple of features to look at on this view. You'll see 2 links at the top of every clinic day. To add a new appointment to a particular day, we use the plus appointment button. Let's say this Stellara patient was a no-show for their appointment today. Our intranet has some great case management tools. Click on the patient to bring up their appointment, and scroll to the bottom for the no-show button. If you weren't able to get a hold of him to reschedule right away, put the patient on hold. This system notifies CRC to rebook this patient and will also remind the clinic every week by email to make sure that nobody falls through the cracks. Let's say we couldn't get him on the phone, so we're going to put him on hold. A no-show patient is put on hold by default on today's date. We can enter a reason, although it's usually no-show because we expected them to come for their appointment or they would have been canceled and rescheduled. We can enter a comment as well. Let's say we tried to call him a few times and weren't able to get a hold of him. We weren't able to get a hold of him, so we indicate he hasn't been rebooked yet. And then we click continue. Our screen refreshes, and now we can see him here as a no-show. Let's say a little while later, Bill calls back and wants to reschedule his appointment. First off, we need to take him off hold so that we can rebook him. Over here along his patient profile, we click stop hold, and then today's date, and click save. Let's say we're going to see him on Friday, and I'm going to put myself in as available for the nurse. We click the plus appointments button on Friday, select him from the drop-down menu of patients, enter the appointment time, and click save. And there we can see him now on our appointment for Friday. So notice that on this patient's appointment block, there's a special indicator. We use indicators to flag patients with special needs or requirements, so let's check out what this indicator for this patient is for. Click on the patient appointment to bring up the quick info, and scroll down a bit and you'll see that I flagged this patient as a hard start, for an example. This way CRC knows that they need to make sure that this patient is booked with a bit more time before the next patient comes in. If we want to look up more information about this patient, like who their patient care coordinator is or where they live, we can click on their patient profile link right here. Clicking the link will jump us to this patient's profile in the Patient Profiles tool. In the patient profile, we can update patient information like updated phone numbers or addresses. This information is accessible by the patient care coordinator and by BioScript as well. We can also just view what's in there now. If we scroll to the very bottom, you'll see any documents that are on their profile. CRC uploads patient orders, received adverse event reports, medical clarifications, etc. Just hover over the document icon and click to open the file in your browser or download it for printing. Let's go back to the appointments page. Each day that patients are scheduled, we have to complete what we call a day close log. This confirms the patients that were seen, blood work done, infusion reaction information, emergency supply checks, etc. Let's say we're almost done for the day, and we'll go complete the day close log. The day close report is used for a number of things like appointment billing and on-site or on-call physician billing, as well as tracking things like the emergency equipment and fridge logs. We're going to select the physician that we used on-site or on-call today, enter in our max and min temperatures, as well as our oxygen tank status, and then we're going to do patient logs for each patient that we saw that day. We enter any blood work that we did for this patient, confirm that this information is correct, the number of vials that we used, that the interval is correct, there hasn't been any changes, if there was 3 or more IV attempts required, and if there was an infusion reaction. If there was an infusion reaction, please tick off any interventions that were used. There's also a few reminders here to remind you that this patient doesn't have a next appointment in the schedule, or to confirm the date that you have scheduled. And then we click Save. Now we can either save as draft if there's other things to do, or we click Submit. And that's it for the day close report. Next, let's look at how we enter our availability into the clinic schedule. All staff must use the nurse schedule for entering availability. It's expected that it's always up to date. You can access from any computer, and it works on a lot of mobile browsers as well. Your availability must be in the calendar at least 8 weeks in advance, and your clinical leader will confirm shifts for you using a booked for work feature, where your time on the clinic schedule will show up in green. It's best to have a decided upon timeline for this in each location with your team, and when the staff will be notified by phone or text, like if a shift is scheduled or booked or changed within, say, 72 hours of the shift. Staff are expected to check and keep the schedule up to date. Let's say I'm going to put myself in for Friday afternoon to do Bill's injection appointment. I click and drag my name from the nurses list to Friday. I can adjust the times that I want to work or that I'm available for by dragging the corners of the boxes. Let's say I'm available at noon until 5. Let's say while I'm at it, I'm always available every afternoon. We can apply this to the entire week. Now I show up every afternoon. I can also mark if there's certain days that I'm not available by clicking vacation or not available, and I can remove any of them afterwards by using the little X. I want to note in the calendar maybe that I'm not available on Friday morning, so let's put that in as well. And we click the little vacation unavailable button, and you'll see it turn to red. So I'm available only in the afternoon. That looks good to me, so let's go ahead and click Save, and then we're going to go back to our schedule and see what that looks like. And now here we can see where I've put myself in the schedule, from 12 to 5. And it also shows this time span that I'm unavailable in the morning until noon. Now let's look at a few of the other features on the intranet to finish up this tutorial video. First is the file library, where you can find product monographs, copies of all of our policies and protocols, and forms. The easiest thing to do is to search for keywords. Let's say we're going to find the Remicade product monograph. Type in a few keywords, and it shows up here along the side, where you can download it as a PDF. There's lots of different folders for different documents, so using the keyword feature is usually the fastest. The clinic directory allows you to look up information from any clinic in our network, including the Coverdale Resource Center, what we call CRC for short. There's a few other things under tools that we're going to look at too, like clinics, where we can review and update clinic information about our clinic, as well as do our monthly emergency med count. There's links to some of the tools that we use, like the MindFlash online training portal, the Bayshore portal for Tisabri post-infusion reports online, and the Janssen, AE, and post-infusion report portals as well. And last will be webmail. Every nurse will have access to the clinic inbox as well as a personal email account that you can access from up here. When you hover over the webmail button, a drop-down menu will appear and let you select which email inbox you want to log into. And finally, logging out.